Alrighty. Background changed a little bit again. I put a container up on top and moved some stuff around, but probably ain't too big of a difference. Alrighty. Nintendo 64. So, this is kind of like an old cartridge. It kind of works and it kind of don't at the same time. But that's what happens when you get used. Elmo's Letter Adventure. I mainly wanted it because I like Elmo. I don't know if there's a way to get it to like work correctly. Is it's just like really old. I can tell by looking at the board. It's like kind of fading away. It's just from overuse, basically. It was used a lot. That's alright. I gotta look at what it's the Powerpuff Girls Chemical Extraction. The label's a little worn, but it works. It's kind of a beat 'em up fighting game type thing for the Powerpuff Girls. That's my explanation of it anyway. Saban's Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue. I actually played it much besides making sure it worked. As you can tell, I got it cheap, so that was about all I cared about. I don't know. It's Power Rangers. I was like, Power Rangers game, why not? Because I don't have that many N64 games. I didn't grab the microphone to show you, but I do have the microphone. And hey, you, Pikachu! So, I know a lot of people dog on it and stuff, but if you only say the words they tell you to in a quiet room, it generally works. So, you gotta keep that in mind. I think the problem most people I've seen reviewing this have ran into background noise. So it's not like this microphone. This microphone works great. It's like those really crappy microphones that are built into certain older computers. Even this one has one built into it, but it works better than even the microphone for this game. Because it can pick up on the sound of your heater, your air conditioner, your fan. If there's any sound, it will hear it. So I've kind of put it in the backlog because I'm like, I don't know when the weather will cooperate where I live, and be a temperature that's not too hot or too cold perfectly long enough to play through this. I'll have to like play it in bits and pieces whenever the weather's cooperating, basically. And it'll have to be like a time whenever the other people in my house are asleep. That way they're not knocking on my door or something to get my attention. And interrupting the game and making it be like, Pikachu's stupid. It's like, no, Pikachu's trying. Alright, Pokemon Snap. And while I do know that this is available on the Nintendo Switch Online, I got it anyways because I wanted to have a physical copy. Just because I don't have that many N64 games, basically. I don't know that many N64 games that are worth collecting outside of the ones that are on the Switch Online. Let's put it that way. And I found this one relatively cheap. I think they discounted it because somebody like wrote on it. You can't really tell what in the world they wrote, but... and like this back label clearly had some kind of sticker stuff peeled off of it at some point. So I'm guessing that's why they went ahead and discounted it. They were like, it could use better, cleaner cartridging. But I don't really care about that. All I cared about was the fact it works. It turns out I'm terrible about at the original Pokemon Snap. I'm good at the new Pokemon Snap, but the original, it's terrible. So I got this actually with my console, because that was how I ordered it. Donkey Kong 64. I ordered a thing where they were selling both the console and this game together. Because it was like somebody basically owned it and didn't want it anymore. I don't care. So I didn't play this very much because I'm terrible at it. I'm terrible at a lot of like platforming 3D games like this. I still enjoy them though. regardless of that fact. So, whatever. Yeah. As far as I know, this is the only way to play this game. Is the cartridge still? I don't think they ever digitally re-released it. Alright, Star Wars Rogue Squadron. I just was like, why not? Little pew pew game. I'm terrible at it. I every time I try to play it, I crash and stuff. I'm trying to pew pew things, and then I'm just crashing. I'm like, well, one of these days I'll figure out how to play it. I feel like it's one of those games I'll have to sit down and just play it for hours until I figure out the controls. Rugrats Scavenger Hunt. It's kind of like a board game type game. Is my best explanation. I don't know. It's fun enough, despite what it is. I enjoy it. I don't care. I don't care if it's goofy. Now I don't have the cartridge over here because it's in the console. Quest 64, which I know is not a good RPG. It's one of those things where I'm like, I want it because it's RPG. It's one of the older original RPGs that came out in North America. And while it's not the best, it's not terrible either. I mean, people dog on the fact that it is more grind heavy than the typical RPG, because trust me, it is. You can spend hours running in circles and get nowhere. In fact, people, I'm lying to myself, have took to rubber banding the thing to let your character just run in circles and just leave the console on overnight and be like, let's see what it does. It does very little. And you're like, but one day, I will sit there and I will complete it. Because I want to see if it is possible to max out every single stat. As far as I know, nobody has done it. Even the completionist, when he completed the game, didn't max out all the stats. He said that he didn't believe it was possible to do it, and he wasn't going to keep trying and driving himself up the wall over it. He just got everything in the game and brought the stats up as high as he could tolerate. So it makes me wonder if it's possible to max them, which means I'm going to try to because I'm insane like that. And you gotta be careful with how you do it, because basically, you gotta raise your defense level by being hit. Which means you gotta carefully do that throughout the progress of the game. Because at some point, the enemies will start doing 0 damage. And then you have to find an enemy that does damage to continue to raise that. And you also have to continue to hit enemies with your stick, use magic, and run around. Running around's kind of covered with the fact that you'd be trying to get battles like because basically you'd let them ponk on you while you used a heal spell, and then eventually you'd kill them somehow. For some reason I thought I had number 2, but I only got number 1, Pokemon Stadium. I'm losing my mind. Why did I think I had 2? I'm losing my marbles. Anyway, because I got this thing. This is the N64 transfer pack. It allows you to put the Pokemons from this game into this game, which makes me question how this game works on Switch Online. Not my problem, but it seriously... It's a question I have. Alright. You also can play this game with this game. There is a option to play your Game Boy game. It has to be a Pokemon game on there. It gives you a cute little border and everything. And that's why I put that game in there. And I'm actually glad that I know I put that game in there, because I haven't recorded my Game Boy games yet, and I guarantee I was going to go do my Game Boy games and be like, what happened to Pikachu? I guarantee you. I was gonna be like, what happened to it? Alrighty. That's all I have for N64. Um if you know any game titles that go for a decent amount online, they're not overpriced. I would say maybe like 40 and less. It's about where I stand on used games that are that old, because I know a lot of people emulate, and I can't help it if it's not being sold in a way that the company that made it's making any money. Who cares at that point? I don't even think they care. They don't even necessarily keep track of all their old games themselves. They'll not have them listed. Um, I'd love to know some titles that aren't expensive that get sold for the N64. That way I could look up some used copies to get a hold of so I could at least have something on my N64 to play besides Donkey Kong and Quest and a few games that probably don't take very long to beat. Except for Pokemon Snap. I mean, that one's obviously good. That one's just kind of, I don't know, like one of them games you just play for fun. Because, like, the beating, it's not necessarily rewarding. It's more just it playing it that's fun. Alright. That's it for the N64, so thank you for watching, and see you next time.